Morning, everybody. Okay, it's your choice. But is it? Philosophers would say there is no choice. It's all predetermined. And in these post-Luxerian times, you might well think that we have no choice, that it's all going downhill very quickly, and we haven't got much we can do about it as little people. However, even if choice is illusory, it's true that we do have some sort of choice, perhaps determined by our character, by what happened to us when we were young. Maybe it's innate, maybe it's a bit of both. However, when I was a child, I had the reputation in my family of being contrary. And my mum used to say, if they wanted me to shut a window, they'd say, "Chloe, will you open the window?" And maybe that stuck with me, but maybe it changed into something else. So whether or not contrariness could be stubbornness, may turn out to be determination in the end. So I had quite a lot of choices to make in my life that partly happened because, well, the results were partly came about because I was contrary, stubborn, determined. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I can't do that. I'll do it. So some of the choices turned out to be from very good motives, but they didn't help me. So when I was first of all, I wanted to be a writer all my life. And when I was 18, I applied to lots of newspapers, but I was beyond the age, the unions ruled in those days, and I was beyond the age where I could have a cub reporter's salary. They'd have to give me a higher salary. Therefore, nobody would take me. So that one was shelved. I'll come back to it. But then, a little bit later, around the same time, my brother was being bullied at school, and my mother was determined she wanted to get him away to a public school. Turned out he was bullied there as well, but that they didn't know that at the time. But I remember the day my mother came up to my bedroom and said, "Paco," that's my father, says, "You can go to university, or your brother can go to school, and it's your choice." Well, of course, I chose my brother to go to school. What else could I do? But this is where the determination came in. 3 years later, I got there. I couldn't have done it now, because the rules were different. But every year, the professor wrote to me and said, "Can you come yet?" And I'd say, "No, not yet." But in those days, you could go off, earn an independent living from your parents, prove it, and you got a grant. So 3 or 4 years too late, and it did make a big difference, but anyway, off I went to university. So that, if you like, was a choice. The first choice didn't work, but then I got there in the end through determination. Now, coming back to the writing bit, I never gave up. In the back of my mind, I was always writing something, but it never occurred to me that I actually could earn my living as a writer. And then, as chance would have it, I was a temp typist. I had become a social worker, and when I was burnt out, I just said, no more permanent jobs, until it's something I want to do with my life. So one of these temporary jobs, I came across a tiny advertising agency with 3 men and a dog, and they set me on the path. And eventually, a little bit later, sometime later, with great determination, I ended up as a copywriter at the Reader's Digest Association. So that was another way of getting there. And then I became what I call a proper writer. So basically, that was another choice. I chose to be a writer. And I got there in the end. And I think one of the things I feel quite strongly is that even if you make a wrong choice, stick with your choice. because it might not turn out in the end to be the right one.